Mr. Akanni Dawodu is charged with harassment of a residential occupier, Mrs. Ada Obi, contrary to Section 30 of the Rent Act 1965.
And Mr. Burton, in your capacity of milk roundsman, did you deliver milk to Wesley Road on the morning of January the 3rd, 1976, as usual?
Yes, miss.
Did you notice anything unusual?
Unusual? I've never seen anything like it in my whole life. A monster it was, a bleeding monster.
And whereabouts in this street was this monster?
Outside number 38.
Did you, in fact, ascertain that it was a man dressed up?
That's right. Monster with horns it was. The morning was misty sea, so I couldn't see what it was at first till I went closer. You could have knocked me down with a feather. I heard this monster gibbering a kind of song like, swaying this way and that way, like a red Indian doing a rain dance. Then I saw he'd got a big mask on with horns at the top, and the front of the mask was painted white with chalk, and the cheeks had tribal marks, one black, one white, you know, like a zebra.
Was this apparition clothed?
Oh, yeah, it was a cold morning. He was wearing like a thick sweater, more like a vest with short sleeves, and it had two stripes running across his chest, one red, the other yellow, from shoulder to shoulder. And he'd bells on his arms and legs, and a multicoloured cloth knotted around his waist, like a tablecloth. It looked bloody awful, I can tell you that much.
Did you recognise this apparition?
Yes, I did. When he took his mask off, I could see who it was. It was the landlord of the house.
The man you saw, is he in court here today?
Yes, that's him sitting over there.
Oh.
I've known him for the past 3 years. I even talked to him that very morning.
Oh, you talked to him? And what did he say to you?
No, he said nothing. He seemed scared himself. He tried to run into the house, but the lady from upstairs was stood in the doorway with her sons.
Oh. Now, you've told us that when you approached the accused that morning, he made as if to go into the house, but the door was blocked by Mrs. Devlin. Did you then say anything to the accused?
Yes. I says, what are you doing dancing around like that at this time of the morning? Then Mrs. Obi said...
In the accused hearing?
Oh, yes, yes. She says he's making all the juju to force me to leave the house.
Mr. Burton...
One moment, Mrs. Sadler. I would like to explain to the jury that juju is the usual African term for what we know as black magic. Will you proceed?
Mr. Burton, was Mr. Dawodu's dance visible from Mrs. Obi's room?
Yes, definitely. Mr. Dawodu was waving his arms almost against the window. But when he saw me, he turned away from the window and then started looking at me.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Will you wait there?
Mr. Burton, you said you saw the defendant waving his arms in the air at the front window of the front room of his house. But you can't tell us, can you, whether he waved his hands at the whole house?
I couldn't tell you. I've never seen a landlord doing that to his house before.
So, in fact, the defendant waved his arms at the house as a whole, and that particular window happens to be the one nearest the pavement. Is that not so?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
Come, Mr. Burton, surely you must know. Is there any ground floor window at 38 Wesley Road overlooking the pavement?
No, of course not.
So the defendant was just standing in front of his house, waving his arms in the air, was he not?
No, not just that. He was singing a funny kind of song. He was just like a red Indian. He was daft.
The defendant may have appeared daft to you. You said the defendant was like a red Indian praying for rain. So, in fact, you had an instinctive idea of what he was doing. He was only praying for the safety of his house.
Praying? I know I haven't been to church since I was wed, but things kind of changed that much. Praying for his house, with horns on his head, and outside where everybody could see him? I don't believe it. It looked more like a man conjuring some magic to me. He waved his arms in the air like a drunken lunatic and singing bula bula, or worse to that effect. Do you call that praying, mister? Well, I'm going to tell you something. God wouldn't accept any prayer like that. It frightened me, so it must have frightened God as well.
Officer, you were called to number 38 Wellesley Road on the morning of January the 3rd, were you not?
Not called. Mrs. Obi came to the station. I then went with her to the house.
Did you and Mrs. Obi go into the house?
We did, yes.
Will you please tell the court what you saw?
The door to the front room was off its hinges and was lying in the corridor.
Was this the room occupied by Mrs. Obi?
Yes, her children were sat at a table having their breakfast, and I saw her baby in a carriage cot on the bed.
You sound as though you were quite familiar with her circumstances.
Oh, yes. On the 22nd of December 1975, Mrs. Obi made the same complaint about the landlord removing the door. I was also called out on that occasion. I told Mr. Dawodu to put back the door, and he did so in my presence.
So, Mr. Dawodu put the door back on the 22nd of December after you had told him to do so. But when you returned on the 3rd of January, the door had been removed again.
Yes, as I said, on the January the 3rd, when I went back, the door was off.
Did he put the door back a second time?
Oh, yes. By the time I got there, he'd already gone to work that morning, so I returned at 6:30 the same evening. He was in, and I told Mr. Dawodu of the complaint, and he did not deny it. I told him to put back the door, and he did so in my presence. I then warned him that he may be committing an offence.
What condition was the house in, officer?
Oh, dreadful, Your Honour. Badly in need of repair. The only toilet was outside, and that was leaking, and the kitchen sink was blocked.
Yes, I see. Right, thank you.
Thank you, officer.
Officer, Mrs. Obi called you to her house, didn't she?
Yes, that's right.
And who showed you around the house?
Well, Mrs. Obi did.
So it was logical for her to show you parts of the house helpful to her story, isn't that so?
Well, yes, but when I saw Mr. Dawodu, he didn't have very much to say for himself. He didn't deny any of the charges. In fact, he replaced the door.
What exactly did he say?
He said, if Mrs. Obi finds the conditions unbearable, she can leave. And I had to remind him that as she was a tenant, she was entitled to stay.
Officer, Wesley Road is in an area of Fulchester where there is a large immigrant population, isn't it?
That's right, Your Honour.
How familiar are you with that area?
Oh, very familiar. I spent 6 years there as a beat constable and on pandas.
Good. Now, there are certain aspects of this case which may seem rather bizarre to an English jury. For instance, did Mrs. Obi say anything to you when she came to the station to make her complaint, which suggested to you that she believed that Ju Ju, or black magic, was being employed as a means of forcing her to leave her flat?
Oh, yes, she did, Your Honour, but that's not at all uncommon.
No. Really, officer?
No, not at all, Your Honour. We find that many of the coloureds in this area use juju or black magic to sort out all kinds of disputes. This case is fairly typical.
Coloureds, officer? Do you mean specifically Africans?
Oh, yes, Your Honour. Africans, of course. Mind you, the West Indians do as well.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
What is your full name?
Obi.
You...
Fulchester. I'm Mr. Dawodu's tenant.
I beg your pardon, Mrs. Obi. What was that you said?
I'm Dawodu's tenant.
I can scarcely hear you, Mrs. Obi. Will you please try and speak up? It's no use if the jury can't hear what you're saying.
Thank you, Your Honour. I'll do as you say.
How old are you, Mrs. Obi?
23.
You are separated from your husband now, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, when was this? When did you and your husband separate?
I left him in August last year.
How many children do you have, Mrs. Obi?
I have 5 children.
And what are their ages?
My oldest child, a girl, is 4.5, almost 5, and the baby is now 2 months old.
So you were pregnant when you left your husband?
Yes, Your Honour. I was 5 months pregnant when I had to leave.
Why was it that you had to leave, Mrs. Obi?
My marriage was becoming very violent, and I was frightened for my children's safety.
And when you left, where did you go?
I saw an advertisement on the notice board in front of a local news agent. So I quickly ran to the house and luckily met Mr. Dawodu. We finalized the arrangements and I moved in the very next morning. I was overjoyed. I thought I'd found peace at last for me and the children.
How do you support yourself, Mrs. Obi, and your 5 young children? Do you work?
Yes, I work as a library officer in the civil service.
And presumably, in spite of your being married so early and in spite of having so many children, you've also got some academic qualifications.
Yes, I have. I am Igbo, Your Honour, and to us, getting married does not stop a woman from studying or trading or doing whatever she wants to do. I got all my A-levels after my marriage and when having my babies through a correspondence course. Afterwards, I had to attend full-time tuition for my social science degree.
Yes, I see. All right, thank you.
Mrs. Obi, when you saw Mr. Dawodu on that day in August, what kind of arrangements did you make with him?
I told him I had 4 children and desperately needed accommodation. He said the rent would be £90 a month. As there was nothing written down, I asked him for a rent book because I was ready to pay the first month in advance.
And did he give you a rent book?
No, he did not.
What reason did he give?
He said that we are all the same, meaning that we came from the same country and would not cheat one another. I was too happy at finding a place to live that I didn't insist, but I made sure I paid him by check so as to have some proof, and he said I could move in the following day.
After you moved in, did you pay your rent regularly by check?
Yes, I do.
Ah, good. And do you produce the return checks?
Yes.
Exhibit 1, Your Honor.
Yes, these are the checks.
After you moved in, was everything peaceful?
At first, but the number of rats and cockroaches in the house increased, and I was nearing the end of my pregnancy. These pests would squeak and creep around the house all night that I hardly had any sleep. I begged Mr. Dawodu over and over again. One day in October, I told him that if he was not going to do anything about the pests, that I was going to call in the council inspectors because I knew that they have a special kind of pest killer that I felt sure would help in this case.
What was Mr. Dawodu's reaction when you said this?
He reacted in a terrible way. He called me names. He said I was ungrateful, for he had let me rent his house. He threatened that if I went to the council, I would be very sorry.
And did you go to the council immediately?
No, I did not. But after 2 days of the same kind of endurance, I simply had to go. And then they told me
Never mind what they told you. Did they go to the house?
Yes, they came to the house that very day and waited for Mr. Dawodu. He then knew I'd been to the council.
And what was Mr. Dawodu's attitude after that?
He was very angry. You see, he was not supposed to have any tenants at all, to say nothing of a tenant with very young children, because the house had long been condemned and there was a compulsory purchase order on it. He could have got into trouble straight away, but as I didn't have a rent book, the council officers believed him when he said I wasn't a tenant.
Apart from getting angry, did he do anything?
Yes. He started on the 25th of October, in the very early morning, around 4 or 5. Oh, it was horrible. I was too frightened even to scream. I thought I was going to have my baby that morning. I thought I was going to die. Because, you see, among my people, such a sight is a warning that something terrible, in most cases that death, was going to happen to the person who sees such a sight.
What exactly did you see, Mrs. Obi?
I saw this thing outside my window. I couldn't make out what it was at first. Then I saw 2 horns and a face covered in chalk. I thought I was dreaming at first. Then I looked closer and saw it was Mr. Dawodu.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce the mask and clothes that Mr. Dawodu was wearing on the 3rd of January as exhibits.
Very well.
Mr. Imidi.
With Your Honor's permission...
One moment, Mrs. Sadler. I'd no understanding that you were introducing someone wearing the clothes.
I thought it would make a more graphic demonstration of a frightening effect, Your Honor.
Very well.
And as Mr. Lamidi is here, perhaps I could also ask him to demonstrate the dance that Mrs. Obi says she saw Mr. Dawodu executing.
That's rather unusual. Have you any objection, Mr. Brown?
No, Your Honor. Although my client does not accept that the dance Mrs. Obi claims to have seen was the one he was performing.
Very well. All right, Mrs. Sadler, proceed, but keep it brief.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lamidi.
Ada
after that interlude, Mrs. Sadler, perhaps we might get on.
Yes, of course, Your Honour. Mrs. Obi, is that the costume you saw Mr. Dawodu wearing on the 3rd of January?
Yes, it is.
And was that the dance he was performing?
Yes, it was.
Having established that, Mrs. Sadler, is there any necessity for the dancer to remain in court?
Well, Your Honour, it may be necessary to refer to the costume again.
Have you any objection, Mr. Brown? Very well, Mrs. Sadler.
Most grateful, Your Honour. Oh, Mr. Lamidi, would you wait there, please? Now, Mrs. Obi, what do you call that type of song?
It is a death song. And if one's name is woven in it, like mine was, death is expected to occur within 7 days at the most.
Well, what did you do about it after you first saw Mr. Dawodu behaving in this way?
There was little I could do about it, except pray to God, because no council official would believe me. And so I told nobody about it.
Did Mr. Dawodu do anything else on the 25th or around that time?
Oh, yes. After I recovered from the shock, I walked down to the kitchen and let out a scream as I stepped on something soft and pulpy. I had no shoes on at the time. I looked closely and saw the dead, mutilated body of a black cat. Its blood was sprinkled all over its black fur. Oh, it was so bad that I was very sick as a result.
A dead cat, Mrs. Obi?
Oh, yes. That's all part of the Ju Ju ritual. After that, I would often find pieces of animals, cats, bats, snail shell, all sprinkled with blood in the passage and near the kitchen.
How very unpleasant. And at this time, you were in the late stages of pregnancy, weren't you?
Oh, yes. I was then 8.5 months pregnant and too heavy and uncomfortable to go to work. I was giving 3 months paid maternity leave.
Was there anything else about Mr. Dawodu's behaviour toward you at this time?
Oh, yes. Mrs. Dawodu would not speak to me. And Mr. Dawodu started shouting at my children at the slightest noise they made. Then the following day, the 26th to be precise, he cut off my electricity, padlocked the door of the cupboard where the meter was, and the following Sunday, removed my door. On one occasion, I was so fed up I had to call the police. That was on the 22nd of December. The officer made Mr. Dawodu replace my door.
Now, will you please tell us what happened on the 3rd of January of this year?
Yes. I was awakened by the noise of rats in my room. The light was a candlelight as the electricity had been switched off. Fearing that one of the rats might jump into my baby's carrycot, I quickly snatched the baby and held her to my chest.
How old was the baby at this time?
Only 3 weeks.
So in other words, you'd just come out of the hospital.
Yes, I only came out the week before.
Will you proceed, Mrs. Obi? You held the child to your chest.
Oh, yes. And then I saw a big rat staring at me. So I took a library book from my bedside table and flung it at the rat. It ran frightened to a wardrobe standing in the corner. The rat, in turn, frightened some of the sleeping cockroaches, and they ran to me, as it were, for protection.
The cockroaches ran to you for protection?
Yes, Your Honour. They jumped into my lap, in fact. I jumped out of bed and shook them all off. But I wouldn't put my baby back in its cot anymore. I was too frightened. And then I heard Mr. Dawodu singing his death song again.
You were by then accustomed to hearing him, weren't you?
Oh, yes, I did it almost every morning.
But did something happen to make this morning different from the others?
Yes. I heard Charlie coming up the street.
Charlie, Mrs. Obi.
The milkman, Your Honour. He was whistling merrily as usual. And then he saw Mr. Dawodu and let out such a scream and curses. The poor man was so frightened.
What did you do then?
Well, I didn't wish to miss the show, so I quickly threw a lapa over my nightdress.
A lapa, Mrs. Obi?
It's a piece of cloth, Your Honour. We tie it round our waists like a skirt.
I see. What did you do after you'd dressed?
Well, I ran out to see what was happening. We all came out. I mean, many people, the neighbours, the Devlins upstairs. Soon there was a little crowd of people.
And what was your first reaction, Mrs. Obi?
I simply burst out laughing. I couldn't help it. Because, you see, Your Honor, there was Mr. Dawodu in a blue loin lapa cloth with the funeral mask still on his head, and me in my pink night dress and yellow lapa. Mrs. Dawodu still had her plaits on, standing out like mini horns, and the devlins all a gaping wonder. It was a very laughable sight.
You said earlier that such a sight could cause death to the victim in your culture, and yet you laughed.
My laughter was relief, for now everyone could see what it'd been doing to us. This type of harassment is difficult to explain to somebody who is not a Nigerian.
Yes, you laughed. Then what happened?
Well, I quickly stopped laughing, seeing how seriously the others were taking it. Besides, I felt sorry for the Dawodus.
Sorry for them, but why?
For making such fools of themselves. Because, you see, it's all right if Mr. Dawodu had been seen only by Nigerians, but to be seen by most of our white neighbors.
Ah, was Mr. Burton the milkman still there?
Oh, yes, he was. And he made matters worse by asking over and over again, what are you trying to do to her? Were you trying to get into her room? Do you have to dress like that to get to her room? So, in order to curb his curiosity, I explained to him that Mr. Dawodu was making the juju in order to force me into leaving the house. It was at this point that Mrs. Dawodu intervened.
Intervened? What did she do?
Well, she reminded me that I was Nigerian too, and asked whether I wanted my country to be laughed at.
And were you affected by this plea?
Yes, I was. And as I said, I felt sorry for them, because although I'm an Igbo and a different tribe from theirs, we're all from the same country. I felt ashamed and wanted to get away from it all, especially when Mrs. Dawodu took it upon herself to scold her husband.
Did she say all this in English?
No, she spoke in Yoruba.
Did Mr. Dawodu stop the harassment after that morning of the 3rd of January?
Well, he stopped dancing outside my window, but intensified his verbal attacks on my children.
Now, can you tell the court of any particular incident when Mr. Dawodu frightened the children?
On that same evening, for instance, he heard my boy singing in the corridor. His voice is still very young and unformed. He's only 2. He came running down from upstairs, very angry, shouting and shouting. He worked himself up into a frenzy at the boy. My child got so frightened, he ran to me and hid behind my skirt. As a result of all this, he's now seeing a child psychologist because he now runs at seeing any black man.
The cases in Fulchester Crown Court are fictional, but the jury is made up of members of the general public. The Queen against Dawodu will be resumed tomorrow. Mr. Akanni Dawodu is charged with harassing a tenant, Mrs. Ada Obi, who is a fellow Nigerian. Yesterday, Mrs. Obi described how Dawodu practiced juju or black magic to frighten her and make her leave the house, and that as a result of his hostility, her youngest child is receiving psychiatric treatment. She's also given evidence that Dawodu cut off the electricity and repeatedly removed the door to her room. Mr. Haverstock Brown, QC, counsel for Mr. Dawodu, is about to cross-examine Mrs. Obi.
Mrs. Obi, you are, apart from holding a responsible position in this country's civil service, a social science graduate of London University, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And I expect you read all sorts of daily papers and professional magazines?
Well, I can't afford to read many. I mean, not as many as I'd like to, but I do read The Guardian and New Society fairly regularly.
You're no doubt fully aware of the housing shortage in the country, particularly in Fulchester.
Everyone knows about the housing shortage in Fulchester. You don't have to be a social science graduate to know that.
And Mrs. Obi, just answer the questions, if you please. Oh, yes, quite. Everyone knows about the housing shortage, but not everybody knows how to jump the queue on the waiting list. But you do.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, come, Mrs. Obi, surely you must know. Surely you have read about how some young people who, in order to get a house, get married, have children, sometimes several children, and manage to get a house much quicker than many others who remain single and unmarried.
Well, I have read of such cases, but such have nothing to do with me. I didn't plan my marriage to break up.
No, Mrs. Obi, you did not plan the breakup of your marriage, but you do know how soft this society feels about children. And in cases of this kind, for the unscrupulous, children can be very, very effectively used as a weapon.
I don't know what you mean.
You said earlier that you reported the vermin at 38 Wesley Road to the council as a health hazard to your children. You also said that your little boy is now seeing a child psychologist. You were at some pains to show the authorities that the children were suffering.
I don't know, neither do I understand what you're trying to prove. But as I'm a mother, the well-being of my children must be the most important thing to me. So for God's sake, I'm not using my children as a weapon against anybody.
You have now been offered a council flat, and you hope to move in a few weeks' time.
Well, I wouldn't believe it until I actually move into it. It's too good to be true.
Did you at any time go to the council and ask for a flat before you knew you were going to leave your husband?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Because I needed a flat very urgently, and I knew that with the council it would take me a long time.
But did you at any other time go to the council and ask for a flat?
Yes, I went later, when Mr. Dawodu first told me that he wished to sell his house.
And what did the council tell you?
Well, they said that I would have to wait for at least 12 years before getting a flat.
Now, Mrs. Obi, a few months ago, the council told you that you would have to wait at least 12 years for a flat. Now, barely 3 months after. Well, it's only a matter of having to wait 1 or 2 months. Why this sudden leap in time?
I suppose some new evidence came to their notice, and they've discovered how really desperate my situation is.
New evidence such as the harassment of your children by the landlord?
That's not it. I mean, the house is uninhabitable, and it's long been condemned as unfit for human accommodation.
And when you discovered these facts, you exploited them to the full, did you not?
What's wrong with that? All I did was make sure that the council knew all the facts.
I'm sure you did, Mrs. Obi. You are a very well-educated and a clever person. But do you honestly consider yourself a tenant of Mr. Dawodu?
Of course I'm a tenant. Why else would I be paying him rent?
We'll come to the rent later. Now, Mrs. Obi, if you were a tenant, one of the first things you would ask for and get would be a rent book.
I have already said that I did ask him when I first moved in, and many, many times after, but he wouldn't give it to me.
Did you not know that you were entitled to a rent book by law?
Of course I knew it was the law, but I was desperate, and apart from living on the streets, there was nothing else for me to do.
And when you asked Mr. Dawodu for the rent book, what was his answer?
Well, he said, don't worry about it. Are we not the same people?
Come now, Mrs. Obi, are you really telling us that he said you and he were the same people?
That was what he said.
What did he mean by that? Or rather, what do you understand him to mean by saying you were the same people?
He meant that we all came from the same country.
Well, Mrs. Obi, you may come from the same country, but you come from tribes that are traditionally hostile to each other. Is that not so?
Yes, he's Yoruba.
And you are not a Yoruba woman, are you?
No, I'm Igbo.
Well, he'd hardly describe you as the same people, would he?
Perhaps when I first went, he did not know I was Igbo.
How could that be?
Well, because although I'm of Igbo descent, I was born in Lagos, where people speak Yoruba language. And because I also schooled there, I acquired some Yoruba mannerisms.
You mean you masqueraded as a Yoruba woman to deceive Mr. Dawodu that you were both of the same tribe, did you not?
This shows, I'm sorry to say, how little you know of Nigerian languages and cultures. I spoke the Yoruba language as a child. Many people still think I'm a Yoruba woman.
But you deliberately made him believe that you were a fellow tribeswoman, did you not?
Not deliberately at all. After all, I saw the advertisement on the notice board of Queen's Crescent. The advertisement did not specify that only Yorubas would qualify. All I wanted was a flat.
You told the court earlier that you paid £90 a month for the rent of the ground floor rooms at 38 Wesley Road, didn't you?
That was the amount I paid to Mr. Dawodu monthly.
And do you think that that is a fair rent?
I don't think it's a fair rent at all. But the landlord knew at the time that I was desperate for a place to live. And because of the children, few landlords would accept me, even if I was lucky to find a place.
So, you say you paid what you regarded as an unfair rent. You also say that you accepted you had no rent book. Well, you seem to have accepted these irregularities very readily, Mrs. Obi.
What else could I do? Live in the streets?
Well, you knew that the house was condemned as unfit for human habitation, did you not?
That is not true. I did not know this when I moved in.
The truth is, Mrs. Obi, that you knew what you were doing all along. You have been amusing yourself watching Mr. Dawodu fall into one trap after another, so that when the right time came, you could use all this as evidence to the authorities to give you a flat, as you have now done.
It is not true. I found myself in this situation. I came to this country to join my husband, and when the marriage did not work, I had to leave. I had nothing but my job and my children, and all I'm doing is make the best of a very nasty situation.
So you have been telling us, and I must say, how very moving.
It is the truth, sir. I can't help it if you don't believe me. Cynicism is the last thing I'd expect to find in a court of justice. But I'm telling you the truth, I swear it.
TV lawyers.
Mrs. Obi, were you friendly with the Dawodus?
They were good neighbors to me at first. They stopped being friendly to me when I made complaints about the rats. And they became really hostile when I intensified my demands for a rent book.
Yes, but you were friendly enough to be able to order from Mrs. Fuller Dawodu's mail order catalogue, weren't you?
Yes. When I left my husband, he did not let me take anything with me, except the children. So I had to buy some bits and pieces from Mrs. Dawodu and the rest from a market nearby.
And you made the payments for these articles you bought from Mrs. Dawodu by cheque,
Yes,
didn't you?
I did.
Good. You made out these cheques to Mr. Dawodu and not to Mrs. Dawodu.
I made them to Mr. Dawodu because Mrs. Dawodu told me she had no current account.
You said earlier on that you paid Mr. Dawodu by cheque. Well, the truth is that the cheques you paid to Mrs. Dawodu were for the articles you bought from her. Is that not so?
That is not so. And whoever concocted such a story should be sent to hell. Oh, my God, this is all lies.
Just answer the questions, Mrs. Obi. Were the cheques you paid to Mr. Dawodu for the rent, or were they for the goods you bought from his wife?
Oh, my God, Your Honor, as far as I can remember, I bought a pressing iron, and a very cheap one for that matter, and a 3-square-yard piece of carpet. The whole thing came to less than £20. So what has that got to do with over £400 I paid to Mr. Dawodu in the last 5 months?
I am asking the questions, Mrs. Obi. I put it to you that the amounts you claimed you paid were for the goods you bought from Mrs. Dawodu and not for rent at all, as you wish the court to believe. And you lived in the house rent-free as a relative and would not move out when asked to do so?
That is not so. How can I be a relative when I'm Igbo and he a Yoruba? It is not done. And how can I order for goods worth over £400 for a one-bedroom flat that was damp, ridden with rats and cockroaches? There was very little of value in the flat, even though it was supposed to be furnished. I tell you, your accusations are not true.
No? Well, unfortunately, we have only your word for it.
But that was how it happened.
Well, let us move on to the events of January the 3rd. You say that Mr. Dawodu's songs were funeral songs directed against you. In other words, according to you, he was willing you dead.
Amongst our people in Lagos, seeing such sights, especially if one's name was woven into the songs, means instant death. People usually die of shock.
Do they now? Huh. And you burst out laughing. Do rational people like you burst out laughing when they're faced with situations which could cause them instant death?
All I can say is that people react to shock differently.
Well, the Ju Ju dance Mr. Dawodu was performing is the same as Ju Ju men use for the protection of their property when they are praying.
That is not so. That was not the dance he was doing.
Well, how can you be so sure?
Because a child born into Christianity must know the difference between Christmas carols and funeral hymns. I was born into the Nigerian culture, and I know that the songs were meant for me. He even wove my name into it. That couldn't have been an accident. It was all planned, deliberate.
Well, many people would have died of shock, so you claim. But you did not die of shock. You're still here. Why is that?
Because, as I said, I am of feeble parentage and also a Christian. Such facts insulate me in a way. But I was in fear all the time, so much so that if I had found another house, I would have moved. But I had no choice but to stay.
Mrs. Obi, do you expect the jury to believe that an educated woman like you, even if you felt threatened at first by the Ju Ju ritual, would still continue to be frightened after 2 whole months had passed and it proved ineffective? Mrs. Obi, I put it to you that you laughed on January the 3rd because you knew those watching the incident who were not Nigerian would not understand what Mr. Dawodu was doing, that they would regard his prayers as Ju Ju incantations against you.
That was not why I laughed.
Well, you now had independent witnesses who you knew would come here and testify for you.
Ah, well, Mr. Sholanke was there that morning. Mrs. Dawodu was there too, and she told her husband off for harassing me.
Was anyone else present when she told off her husband?
Everybody was there that morning.
But you told the court earlier on that she was speaking in Yoruba and not English.
Yes, she was speaking in Yoruba.
So, in fact, very few people could understand what she was saying.
But our Nigerian neighbors could. They're all Yorubas. They can testify to that.
Oh, yes, some of them are here. And they will certainly testify that Mrs. Dawodu said nothing about harassment.
Oh, they can't deny it. I know they're all Yorubas, but that should not cover the truth. Oh, my God, what is this? A tribal war, another Biafra?
Let's confine ourselves to events in Wesley Road, shall we?
Yes, Your Honor.
One of your most serious charges against Mr. Dawodu is the psychological effect he was having on your children. Is that not so?
Yes.
And this effect was such that your little boy would now run at the sight of any black man. Isn't that your claim?
That is so. He would run, screaming for cover. He was really frightened. I told you, the doctor and the child psychologists are agreed on this point, that it is Mr. Dawodu and his house, I mean the daily stress of living in his house, that led to my child's poor mental state.
Mrs. Obi, is your husband a black man?
There are very few white Nigerians, as far as I know.
Oh, would you please answer the question, Mrs. Obi? Is your husband a black man?
Yes, he is. We're from the same place.
When did you actually leave him? 5, 6, or 8 months ago?
I left him 6 months ago when I eventually found a place to live.
Would you say, then, that he is a gentleman? I mean, is he violent or vicious in any way?
Your Honor, Mrs. Obi's private life has nothing to do with what happened after she left her husband.
I think I see the point Mr. Brown is making, Mr. Sadler. Proceed, Mr. Brown.
I'm obliged, Your Honor. Mrs. Obi, is your husband a violent man?
Very violent.
Was that the major reason for your leaving him?
One of the main reasons, yes.
Has he ever attacked you in front of the children?
Sometimes, yes.
And he's a black man. So Mr. Dawodu was not the only black violent man your son has seen. Would you blame the little boy for running for cover at the sight of any person who might remind him of a violent father beating up his mother?
But you have it all wrong. When we left his father, he was not yet 2. This tendency to run developed much later, when Mr. Dawodu started his verbal attack on my children and on me.
However, you can't be quite sure, can you, that he has completely forgotten his violent father?
A child of only 19 months can hardly retain such an experience.
Well, I understand that my learned friend here will not be calling a doctor to support your allegation.
But my children were not like that before Mr. Dawodu turned nasty. They used to call him Big Friend in the beginning. Mr. Dawodu and nobody else is responsible for my children's mental state.
So you have been telling us.
Because it is the truth.
Thank you, Mrs. Obi. That will be all.
No re-examination, Your Honour.
Thank you, Mrs. Obi. You may leave the witness box.
Thank you, Your Honour.
Mrs. Obi. Sorry. Do you have any sort of things that you bought from Mrs. Dawodu?
Yes, I have.
You can find them.
Yes, I'm sure.
Your Honour, I should be grateful if Mrs. Obi could be released for an hour to attend to a matter of urgency.
Very well, provided it is only for an hour and provided she realizes she must return immediately.
You sure you can find it? I'm sure, yes.
Well, be as quick as you can.
I will. Thank you very much.
Are you ready to continue, Mrs. Sadler?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Your Honour. I call Mrs. Iris Devlin. You are Mrs. Iris Devlin, and you live at number 38 Wesley Road.
Yes, that is so.
Will you tell the court what happened on the morning of the 3rd of January this year?
You mean the morning the milkman had a fright?
Yes, I think we're talking of the same morning.
Oh, well, the landlord's funny most mornings. He's either dancing here or singing there, or God knows what he's doing.
Yes, Mrs. Devlin. Now, could you please tell the court what happened on the morning of January the 3rd?
Well, my husband, Michael, Mick that is, he were fussing about his socks or something. So I said to myself, I might as well stay up and get the milk in. So I did.
Yes,
I stayed up.
Yes, when you stayed up, did you hear anything unusual?
Of course I did. It's what I was telling you at the beginning. Our milkman shouting his head off.
Did you run down the stairs then?
I did then, yes.
And what did you see when you got to the street?
Well, I've never seen anything like it in my whole life. Him, Mr. Wazu, I never get his name right, the landlord. Dressed up like a madman he was. He had these pair of horns, and then he had this cloth tied round him. No trousers. Funny, mad I call it, mad.
Yes, did you see anyone else?
Oh, everybody was there. The neighbours, the girl from downstairs, Mrs. Obi, my family, even Mrs. Dazu, what's her name? Soon she started having a go at her husband. She went wallow, wallow, wickaloogle, you know, like the go. I said to Mrs. Obi, I said, here, why don't you go down to council and report him? That Mrs. Doodah, she never stopped talking and mumbo-jumbo in it. I said, I'd go down to town hall myself.
How would you say Mr. Dawodu treated Mrs. Obi's children?
Oh, he was horrid to him. He used to shout and shake his fist at some poor little things. It's not right at all.
Can you remember any particular day when Mr. Dawodu behaved like that towards Jimmy, Mrs. Obi's youngest son?
Yeah, well, he used to do it every day, really, but I do remember that evening on the 3rd of January, that little lad was along the corridor singing, and all of a sudden, the landlord dashed out of his room and started shouting at him. That little lad, he was so frightened, he ran straight out of that house. And, you know, he was so afraid, he wouldn't come back in till his mother fetched him.
What kind of person would you say Mrs. Obi is?
Oh, she's quiet, she's timid, a bit frightened. She keeps herself to herself most of the time.
Thank you, Mrs. Devlin.
Mrs. Devlin, are you a rent-controlled tenant?
Yes. I was born in that house and I've lived there all my life.
How many rooms do you occupy?
The whole top floor, there's 2 bedrooms, a living room. There's no kitchen, but I do my cooking on the landing.
How much rent do you pay?
£1.50.
Oh, very cheap. Almost free compared to what most people have to pay these days. Don't you think so?
I suppose so, yes.
So it would be in your own interest to remain there as long as possible, wouldn't it?
I like living there. I've lived there all my life. I don't fancy these new tower blocks.
You and Mr. Dawodu have taken each other to court on many occasions over this issue, have you not?
Oh, yes. He wants me out. But we've nowhere to go, you see.
But that's not true, is it? That you have no place to go to? Although you and your family have reached the top of the council list, is it not true that you have been shown accommodation and have always refused them as unsuitable?
I like it where I am now. The houses, the council showed me work quite right. I shall stay where I am until I get what I want.
Ah, but most of the council flats cost between £12 and £15 a week. That would make a big leap in your expenses, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't mind the expense. I could always take a part-time job and help pay for the rent if I got what I wanted.
But now you get what you want. And you see Mr. Dawodu is a threat to that. So that's why you come here and are telling lies against him.
That's not true. He's done all I've said.
Thank you, Mrs. Devlin. That will be all.
No re-examination, Your Honour.
You calling any further witnesses, Mrs. Sadler?
I'm sorry, Your Honour. I was just taking instructions.
I don't know how long she'll be.
Well, I don't think I'll ask for an adjournment.
That concludes the case for the prosecution, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mrs. Sadler. Mr. Brown.
I call Mr. Akanni Dawodu. Mr. Dawodu, will you tell us what happened on the morning of January 3rd of this year?
The whole thing, the case and everything, is a ridiculous nonsense. My people at home saved all their money to send me to this country to study. And because I needed a place to live, I was conned by a white man into buying this house. And now I am at the mercy of not only a white tenant, but also another Nigerian woman who I took into the house almost as charity.
Mr. Dawodu.
You all have been misguided by a woman who tells lies all the time and who's suffering from some kind of self-delusion. I am not guilty, of course, Your Honor.
Mr. Dawodu, if you would answer the questions as they're put to you, you would save this court a great deal of time.
I just don't know where to begin the story, Your Honor.
There's no need to tell a story. If you simply answer the questions as they're put to you, will you please proceed, Mr. Brown?
With pleasure, Your Honor. Mr. Dawodu, would you please tell the court what happened on the morning of January 3rd of this year?
I put on my purification gear and was praying and purifying my house when the milkman came along and started to shout and swear at me.
Did you make any attempt to explain to the milkman what it was you were doing?
It was impossible to talk to him. He was shouting and cursing so much so that all the neighbors came out to add to the confusion. As for Ada Obi, she was hysterical with laughter at the milkman.
Your wife started to speak to you in your own language. Well, what was it she was saying to you?
Oh, she was accusing me of getting up too late for the purification, and that now that everyone had seen me, I will now be a laughingstock.
Did you say anything at all to Mrs. Obi that morning?
No. She had nothing to do with it. It was my house I was purifying, wasn't it?
That song you were singing, what kind of song was it?
Oh, it's a prayer, a chanting prayer, just like the church priests chanting litany or something like that. I did not mean no harm to anybody.
The cases in Fulchester Crown Court are fictional, but the jury is made up of members of the general public. The Queen against Dawodu will be concluded tomorrow. Today in the Crown Court, a Nigerian landlord stands trial on serious charges of harassing and terrorising his tenant, Mrs. Ada Obi, who is a mother with 5 young children. Mrs. Obi claims that he used juju or black magic on her, that he frightened her children so much that one of them is seeing a psychiatrist, that he cut off her electricity supply and removed the door to her room. Mr. Dawodu is giving evidence.
Mr. Dawodu, do you have any children?
Yes, I have 2 children. A girl of 3 and a boy of 2.
Would you say then that you hate children?
Children? Children? I love them. I have 2 of my own, haven't I?
Have you at any time during the past few months terrorized Mrs. Obi's children?
Never. All that she and her friend Mrs. Devlin have been telling this court is mere propaganda. I never even spoke to those children.
Is Mrs. Obi a legal tenant in your house, Mr. Dawodu?
No, she is not. We never made any arrangement about tenancy.
Well, how then did she come to live in your house?
Oh, she had a slight misunderstanding with her husband, and all I offered to do was to give her a temporary shelter until tempers have cooled.
So, naturally, there was no need for her to have a rent book.
No. I have the Devlins as my tenants, and they have a rent book. Ada Obi was never a legal tenant.
Why did you remove the door from the front room of your house?
I had to repair it. The wood was getting bad.
Did you tell Mrs. Obi what you were going to do with the door before you removed it?
I asked her to move out of the house as far back as October because I was not allowed to have people there. and that I wished to do some repairs. She did not move out, so I went on with the repairs.
Was there any time when you prevented her from using the electricity in the house?
Well, after October, I could no longer afford to have Mrs. Obi there, living free, using so much electricity. So to save it, I turned it off in the mornings before going to work and locked the meter cupboard.
Did Mrs. Obi pay you rent at any time?
No, never.
Did she make any other kind of payments to you?
Oh, yes. Sometimes when she saw me coming, she would say, please, Mr. Dawodu, will you take this check up to your wife? It is part payment for some goods I ordered from your catalogue. My wife is an agent.
And to whom were these checks made out?
Oh, they were made out to me because my wife has no current account.
So the payments were not for rent?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Dawodu. That will be all.
Mr. Dawodu, you said you were purifying your house on the morning of January the 3rd?
Yes, that is true.
What were you purifying your house from?
I was purifying my house from some evil eyes.
From evil eyes? Would you please tell the court what you mean by evil eyes?
Well, anybody who had any bad intention towards me or my house.
Did you have anybody specific in mind when you were purifying your house?
No.
I presume that you suspected that all was not well. Otherwise, the house would not need purification.
Well, yes. I thought the Devlins would move out, and they did not. Then Ada Obi came along, and she would not leave. So I wrote to my people at home, and they advised me what to do.
Did your people at home tell you that the evil eyes could be those of the Devlins and Mrs. Obi?
Oh, they said nothing like that. But when you purify your property, the only people who protest against it are those with a guilty conscience.
In other words, those with evil eyes.
Yes.
Did Mrs. Obi protest against the purification?
Oh, yes. Oh, she screamed from her room. I could see her. She was so affected.
Signifying that Mrs. Obi had an evil eye on your house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you weave her name into a funeral song then, when you were sure that she had an evil eye on your house?
I don't know what you mean.
Did you weave Mrs. Obi's name into your purification or funeral song?
Well, when I was sure that she had an evil eye on my house, I had to purify my house against her. Yes, weave her name into it, but not until I was quite sure.
And did you sing funeral songs?
Funeral songs are part of purification songs. They are not directed at anybody in particular. It was a case of, if the hat fits, you wear it.
Really? Even though you specifically sang your songs in front of Mrs. Obi's window?
She must have wished me evil. Otherwise, she would not have reacted as she did.
You stated, or rather, you started your purification songs last October, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Mrs. Obi was very pregnant at this time, was she not?
I believe so, yes.
You yourself have 2 children?
Yes, I have 2.
What do you think would have been your wife's reaction if she had seen such a sight during the last stages of her pregnancy?
Your Honor, the witness is being asked a purely speculative question.
Yes, Mr. Brown, I don't think that's a very helpful question, Mrs. Sadler.
Very well, Your Honor. Mr. Dawodu, during your purification rites, you threw down the mutilated bodies of dead animals, did you not?
Yes.
And sprinkled them with blood?
Yes, that is part of the purification.
Purification, Mr. Dawodu?
My wife uses the kitchen as well.
You said, Mr. Dawodu, that Mrs. Obi was not a legal tenant in your house.
No, she was not.
How do you define the term legal tenant?
One that pays rent.
And did not Mrs. Obi pay you any rent?
No, never. I said so before.
How did she come to know of your vacant flat?
I don't know. I never asked her. She approached me for help in housing her, and I did.
In fact, you advertised the vacant rooms, did you not, Mr. Dawodu?
I might have.
Yes or no, Mr. Dawodu?
Yes.
Well, surely when you advertised, you must have been expecting a paying tenant.
No, I was expecting somebody I could help.
But you did not state that on the advertisement, did you?
Didn't I? Oh, I must have forgotten.
Mr. Dawodu, please don't play games.
I am in no mood for games. I did not state any rent in the advertisement, did I?
According to the returned checks, Mrs. Obi made a payment of £90 to you the day before she moved in. What was that payment for?
Oh, she ordered something or the other from my wife's catalogue, and the amount was part of the payment.
But that was the first time she ever saw you. Are you saying that she ordered goods costing £90 from people she had never seen before?
We all pay more than that in shops for goods we want. It does not mean that we have to know the shopkeepers before, does it?
That is hardly the same thing. Now, exactly 4 weeks after she moved in, she paid another £90. In fact, the checks show 5 such payments, except that in the 3rd month, she paid £100. Do you know why?
I told you earlier I do not know. The business is between her and my wife.
What goods did Mrs. Obi buy from your wife that cost over £400?
I don't know. I think it was for some furnishings, carpets and things like that.
She bought all those expensive things for a flat in which she was not even a legal tenant.
I don't know why she bought them.
Why did you cut off her electricity and then remove her door?
It was not her electricity. Neither was the door hers. She was to stay there temporarily, and I gave her verbal notice to quit in October, and she did not. I had to save my lights.
You told the court that you never spoke to Mrs. Obi's children.
Oh, yes, I said so.
Yes, but you said earlier that you love children, and yet you never talked to them at all.
I might have talked to them sometime.
Ah, now you're making progress. You sometimes shouted at them, especially when you felt they were being naughty. Shouting, making a noise, didn't you?
In my culture, children belong to the community. So any grown-up has a right to tell them off when they have misbehaved. I was only helping Mrs. Obi's children the African way.
You have 2 children. Where are they?
They live in the country with their foster parents.
Even though you told us you loved them.
This is ridiculous. My children are perfectly happy where they are, and I am happy with the arrangement.
Is it that you and your wife are too busy getting your qualifications and so forth to have them with you?
That is exactly so.
Yes. Apparently, Mrs. Obi manages to look after 5 children and hold down a full-time job. Does she not?
Mrs. Obi can get a nursery place for her children because hers is a one-parent family, and family like hers get all the goodies of this unfair society. So what right have you to accuse me of not looking after my children? I will not have another person's children getting on top of me. I will not have it. They should be well trained.
Mr. Dawodu, I am not accusing you. I was only asking a question. And as you said earlier, if the hat fits, wear it.
Your Honor, this woman should not speak to me like that. What I do with my own children is my affair. Mrs. Obi should train her children not to be a nuisance to other people.
Thank you, Mr. Dawodu. No further questions.
Is your name Mrs. Fuller Dawodu? And are you the wife of Mr. Akanni Dawodu?
Yes, I am.
Were you in friendly terms with the Obis before this disagreement started?
We were very friendly. I was very much surprised when she reported us to the council over such small things like rats and cockroaches. She knew that most of the houses in that area have these things.
Did she ever order any goods from your mail order catalogue?
She ordered many things.
Did she pay for them regularly?
Regularly, every month. She was a good customer.
Now, Mrs. Dawodu, would you tell the court what happened in the morning of January the 3rd of this year?
I had people shouting and talking downstairs in front of our house. So I came out too.
And what was the shouting and talking about?
Oh, nothing much. Charlie, the milkman, saw my husband in his purification gear and started to shout.
Did you say anything to your husband?
Yes. I blamed him for causing the misunderstanding. I told him that he overslept. Otherwise, the milkman would not have seen him.
Thank you, Mrs. Dawodu. That will be all.
Mrs. Dawodu, will you tell us exactly what articles Mrs. Obi bought from you?
She bought a carpet for a room and a pressing iron and, I don't remember the rest.
Try to remember the rest, Mrs. Dawodu. Over £400 is a little too much to pay for just a small carpet. and an electric iron.
I'm sorry, I can only remember these two.
Are you telling the court, then, that those were the only articles Mrs. Obi bought from you?
I'm not saying exactly that, but the carpet was very big and expensive. I remember that.
Ah, I see. How large is Mrs. Obi's room?
It's a double room, large enough.
Did the carpet cover the whole floor of that room?
No, not the whole floor, because there's a double bed on one side of the room.
So, Mrs. Obi uses the front room as a bedroom for herself and her new baby. And she uses the room as a living room as well, just like a bed-sitter.
Yes, that is so.
And yet you are now telling the court that she paid over £400 for a carpet for such a room.
I don't know. I said I can't remember.
Have you been telling the truth, Mrs. Dawodu?
As far as I can remember, yes.
Maybe I can help you. The truth is that Mrs. Obi ordered a small carpet and bought an electric iron from you as well. She paid a cash deposit on the two articles, and the balance of £10 she paid together with the rent she gave your husband. That would explain why one cheque was for £100 instead of the usual 90. Is that not the truth, Mrs. Dawodu?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
Mrs. Dawodu, please try and answer the question directly. It would save so much time.
I don't know the answer. My husband handles the checks and all that.
Mrs. Dawodu, were the checks Mrs. Obi had been paying to your husband for rent as well as for the goods she bought from your catalogue?
No, the checks were only for the articles she bought from my catalogue.
Thank you, Mrs. Dawodu.
Mrs. Solanke, you are the landlord of several houses in Fulchester, including the house next to Mr. Dawodu's.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Are you friendly with Mrs. Obi?
Oh, yes. We're all very friendly with her. When I say we, I mean all of us living in my house. I have many tenants, and they're all Nigerians. Mrs. Obi was like one of us. We regarded her like that.
And, why did you all regard her as one of you?
Oh, we all thought that she was a Yoruba woman and that she was a relative of the Dawudus.
Would you say that they were living amicably before this disagreement began?
Oh, yes. They were living like brothers and sisters. In fact, they ate in each other's rooms and they swapped things like heaters and records. I did not understand it at all when I later heard that she said she was a tenant.
Did you visit the house regularly?
Oh, yeah, every day. The two houses seem to belong to one large family because Mr. Dawodu is my friend too.
Mrs. Obi has told the court that she pays £90 a month rent for the ground floor rooms at 38 Wellesley Road. Would that, in your experience, be a fair rent?
Oh, it's impossible to believe. They are not two rooms as such, but a fairly large front room and a very damp little room at the back where her 4 children slept. The kitchen was shared, so how could she pay such an enormous amount for such an old, damp place?
And now, Mrs. Solanke, would you tell the court what happened in the morning of January the 3rd?
Yes. I heard the milkman shouting. It was very early in the morning, and I remember thinking that it was a kind of fire or something like that, so I came out to see what it was.
And what was it you saw?
Oh, nothing much. Only Mr. Dawodu in his praying outfit, and his wife, the milkman, and several of our neighbors.
Did you regard the incident at that time as important?
No, I thought it was very minor.
Are you surprised that it has come to this Crown Court?
Yes, indeed. I cannot understand what the fuss is about.
Thank you, Mrs. Solanke.
Mr. Solanke, are you Yoruba or Igbo?
I am a Yoruba man, but that does not bother me. I help any Nigerian, whether Yoruba or Igbo, or even Hausa.
Good for you, Mr. Solanke. Nevertheless, you were all surprised to find out that Mrs. Obi was an Igbo, weren't you?
Well, I was surprised because her Yoruba mannerisms were perfect.
You were so surprised, in fact, that when you met her in the street, you said that she could have played the part of a spy successfully, didn't you?
Well, I could have said something like that as a joke, of course. Anyway, I should have guessed that no Yoruba woman would have gone that far over such minor issues as rats and cockroaches.
Did your friend, Mr. Dawodu, not tell you that he collected rent from Mrs. Obi?
I don't think he ever did a thing like that.
When you discovered that Mrs. Obi was an Igbo, not one of you, did you suggest that he should charge her rent?
The house is Mr. Dawodu's, not mine.
Are all your tenants Yorubas?
Yes.
And do you tell the authorities that they are all your relatives, so you do not have to give them rent books?
I'm not here on trial. I'm just a witness.
Yes. As a successful landlord, you do advise Mr. Dawodu on matters concerning his property, do you not?
I suppose so.
Invaluable advice, I'm sure. Now, on January 3rd, did Mrs. Dawodu beg Mrs. Obi not to take her husband to court in your Yoruba language?
She said a lot of things, trying to pour oil over troubled waters, so to say. She said many things, how stupid men are and all that.
When she said how stupid men are, do you think she meant her husband?
Oh, yes, she meant her husband, all right. I still have to see a woman who can think before she opens her mouth.
Or perhaps she knew he was in the wrong. Now, you heard Mr. Dawodu singing his song in front of Mrs. Obi's window, didn't you?
Yes.
Was it a funeral song or a purification one?
It was a purification song.
Even when Mr. Dawodu wove Mrs. Obi's name into the song?
Mr. Dawodu never did a thing like that.
Are you sure? But suppose he did. Now, what would that mean to Mrs. Obi?
Oh, it could be fatal for Mrs. Obi, but you see, Mr. Dawodu never did such a thing. He knows what it means.
Are you quite sure, Mr. Solanke, that this could be fatal?
Oh, it has never failed to put an end to the victim, as far as I know.
Your friend, Mr. Dawodu, has already admitted to the court that he wove Ada Obi's name into his songs because he was sure she has an evil eye on his house.
Oh, my God. Well, you told him he did nothing like that.
Thank you, Mr. Solanke.
Does Your Honor have any questions?
No. You may leave the witness box, Mr. Solanke.
I see. Your Honor, I should like to recall Mrs. Ada Obi as some new evidence has come to light. Vital evidence, which should also be put to Mr. Dawodu.
Yes, very well, Mrs. Sadler, unless you have any objection, Mr. Brown.
Mrs. Obi, will you please go back into the witness box?
I remind you, Mrs. Obi, that you're still under oath.
Mrs. Obi, how much have you paid for your rent throughout your 5-month stay in Mr. Dawodu's house?
A total of £450.
But according to my calculations, you paid Mr. Dawodu a total sum of £460. What was that extra £10 for?
I ordered a cheap carpet from Mrs. Dawodu and paid a deposit by cash. I was expected to pay the balance at the rate of 50p a week, but they soon turned nasty to me about the rats. So I decided to pay off the balance of £10 together with that month's rent.
Do you have any proof? A receipt, for instance, to show the court the exact amount you paid for the articles?
I'm sorry, I don't have a receipt. But what I do have is what is called a customer's card, in which an agent records the weekly payment together with the amount of goods bought.
According to this card, the signature is Mrs. Fola Dawodu. You bought a red carpet for £9 and an electric iron for £7. You paid £1 deposit and the sum of £5 bi-weekly instalments. You then paid the balance of £10 in one go. So your purchases from Mrs. Dawodu's catalogue cost you £16.
That is correct.
Which means that the rest, £450, must be for your rent.
It is.
May I see that?
I'm sorry, Your Honour, that this evidence was not produced before. Mrs. Obi had to go home in a taxi for it.
Mr. Brown. Do you have any questions, Mr. Brown?
Well, not for that witness, Your Honor.
No, I do think this card ought to be put to Mr. Dawodu. Mrs. Obi, you may leave the witness box. Mr. Dawodu, would you please return to the witness box?
I'm obliged, Your Honour.
Remembering, of course, that you're still under oath.
Mr. Dawodu, Mrs. Obi paid you £450. What was that amount for?
I don't know. The sum was payment for the carpet. I said so before.
But the customer's record shows that she bought goods worth only £16 from your wife. So, Mr. Dawodu, I ask you again, what was the £450 for? Mr. Dawodu, I am asking you a question.
I know you are. Can I see the customer's card, please? What proof have you that the entries in this card are not forged?
Are you seriously suggesting that they are?
Yes.
Now, has Mrs. Obi been paying the rent of £90 every month?
No, Your Honor. She has not.
Really?
Your Honor, members of the jury, there are elements of this case that may seem strange to us in our society, but in essence, it is a simple case of harassment.
Who can blame Mr. Dawodu? Who, being ignorant of the complexities of British tenancy laws, which were being cynically manipulated by Mrs. Obi to her own advantage, instinctively resorted to the methods of his homeland to deal with an intractable problem. But the fact remains that Mrs. Obi was not a legal tenant.
Remembering that before you can convict, you must be satisfied beyond all reasonable doubt. Firstly, that Mrs. Obi was a tenant at 38 Wesley Road and not merely living there rent-free and on sufferance. Secondly, that the accused did do the acts of harassment as alleged by the prosecution. And thirdly, he did them with intent to cause Mrs. Obi to give up occupation of her 2 rooms on those premises. Now, will you please retire, elect a foreman to speak on your behalf when you return, and consider your verdict.
Will the foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict upon which you are all agreed?
Yes.
And do you find the defendant, Akanni Dawodu, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Is that the verdict of you all?
Yes.
Akanni Dawodu was found guilty of harassment and fined £250. The cases in Fulchester Crown Court are fictional, but the jury is made up of members of the general public. Join us when we'll bring you another case in the Crown Court.